Hey, what's up? So, ever since I was little, I've always been pretty good with money. I was very good at saving money. I never spent any money. I was pretty good at budgeting. So, obviously, by the time I was in high school or college, I was pretty cheap and I saw myself as pretty cheap. It was part of my identity. And I kind of wore it with like a badge of honor. Actually, in my mid 20s or early 20s, I started a blog called IamHellaCheap.com. And I basically just wrote about ways to hit up girls without spending a lot of money. And ironically, I ended up letting that blog go because I don't want to pay the hosting fees anymore after I got a girlfriend. Um, but it wasn't until I was like maybe mid 20s I started becoming a lot more generous, right? Obviously, making more money, making your own money helps a lot, but I also saw the social benefits of being more generous and I kind of enjoyed it. So I kind of like overcorrected to the other side. And yeah, I think at the time I was living in SF and it wouldn't be anything egregious, but you just buy rounds for your friends at the bar or the club or whatever. I used to host these parties, these brunch parties. Essentially, I would just buy like enough bacon and eggs and croissants for like 30 people, and everyone would come over and we would just like drink a lot at like 11 in the morning. It was really fun. Ironically, that party came out of trying to be economical as well because back in the day, girls, or at least my girlfriend, really liked brunch. And I fucking hated brunch because you have to wake up early, you have to wait in line, and you're just like buying like eggs and bacon and like croissants or like, whatever else, right? You're just buying different types of eggs for like really overpriced. So I was like, yo, like, why the fuck do we go to brunch? It's so boring. You can just make it at home. And then she's like, well, do you know how to poach an egg? And I was like, probably. So I just look up how to poach an egg. It's like super easy. You just like crack an egg in a spoon and just like put it in the water. So I went to Costco, bought like 50 eggs and just like poached 50 eggs and then invited everyone over. I forgot where I was going with this. Okay, so I was 25. Oh yeah, so I was 25. Yeah, so okay, yeah, so I was like a lot more generous in my mid to late 20s, but I was always like hyper aware of who I was being generous with, right? And basically, I'm only generous with people that I like and people that would probably be generous back to me, right? I wasn't like calculated, but I was always just aware. And I have this friend. He's like one of my best friends. He's actually the best man at my wedding, and he's like the exact opposite. So for our entire lives, he's always been super generous. And it's just like it's like natural for him. And I definitely know he doesn't even think about it, right? And he is so generous to the point where sometimes I feel bad about him spending his money on other people. Like I cringe a little bit. I'm like, oh, like I hurt a little bit for him being that generous, right? And what's interesting, like between me and him, like we're super like money's not a thing. Like we spend money on each other, like not a big deal. And I'm like that a lot with a lot of my good friends as well. But then I feel like he acts like that towards anyone, like people he just met, and that's the part where I am like, it's like hard for me to grasp, right? Or it was hard for me to grasp. And I was thinking about this, and I actually feel like, like my personality, for example, where I'll be generous to someone if you're generous with me. Like if there's two of me, if I met someone else that was the exact copy of me and we were friends, like it took a while for us to become like to be able to have that kind of relationship where we're just like freely spending money on each other, right? But with him, he's able to kind of kickstart that relationship. I'm assuming most people are reciprocal. So if you think about it, he's probably developing an exponential number of relationships at a deeper value, I guess, much quicker than I have been, like over the course of our lives, because he's able to kind of encourage other people to not purposely, but encourage other people to spend money on him and vice versa. Not really spend money, but like to invest in each other. And he also gets a lot of benefit as well because a lot of people like him because of that, right? And it's not so much of his like what he's providing; it's more of just a generosity that he's giving out. So like previously, I was thinking about it from a mindset where I was like, "Hey, I'm worried about getting taken advantage of." He's probably thinking about it. Well, he's probably not even thinking about it, but he's coming from an abundance mindset where, hey, whatever, and it'll come back, right? So I thought that was very interesting. Actually, like this friend in particular, I feel like there's a lot about his personality that can be talked about. Maybe I'll make another episode on his. I can probably write an essay on his personality, which I think is very interesting. But I hope this gives you something to think about. I think sharing and developing, like being very generous, kind of helps you develop. You're just a lot more likable. You're able to develop those relationships a lot faster. Obviously, he's not doing it from a place of where he's expecting something, but it's kind of just natural. So I hope that helps. I don't know if this makes sense or not, but thought you see. Thanks.